up and dance. Baby, take a chance. This kind of girl needs romance. Baby, take a chance. Saddle up and dance. Baby, take a chance. This kind of girl needs romance. Baby, take a chance. Saddle up and dance. Baby, take a chance. This kind of girl needs romance. Baby, take a chance. Saddle up and dance. Saddle up and dance. Baby, take a chance. This kind of girl needs romance. Baby, take a chance. Saddle up and dance. Baby, take a chance.
Showtime. Action with intimate emotional beats, creating a compelling story that appeals to both younger and older audiences. Act 1, Life After Crime, a fragile redemption. The story begins with the bad guys having successfully turned a new leaf. After the events of the first film, they are now public heroes, running a community-based security service, teaching young offenders how to reform, and performing civic good deeds. They enjoy modest fame, but their image remains shaky. The society is skeptical, and the justice system treats them like they are on probation. This act sets up internal tension. Mr. Snake is growing tired of trying to play the good guy when society doesn't fully accept them. External threat, a series of slick, sophisticated heists sweep through the city, targeting government facilities and high-profile tech corporations. Inciting incident, security footage and digital fingerprints begin implicating the bad guys in the crimes, despite their innocence. As law enforcement closes in, the team is forced underground. Their former ally, Diane Foxington, now a high-ranking official, is caught between her duty and her loyalty to the group. This act ends with the realization someone is framing them, and unless they act fast, their past will condemn them permanently. Act 2, Unmasking the Clean Crew, Crisis of Identity. This act constitutes the core of the film's narrative. The bad guys begin an undercover investigation to uncover the truth. They go rogue and dig into digital trails, interrogate old underworld contacts, and discover the existence of a rival group. White right-pointing backhand index the Clean Crew, a flashy, polished team of white-collar vigilantes who position themselves as the new face of justice. Unlike the bad guys, they have public support, corporate sponsorships, and media control. Key turning points. Mr. Wolf's dilemma. He is tempted to go back to the old ways, steal evidence, sabotage systems, to fight back, but Diane warns him that falling back into crime, even for justice, destroys everything they've built. Mr. Snake's breaking point. He temporarily defects, frustrated by the thanklessness of redemption, but a heart-to-heart with Mr. Shark brings him back. Character depth. Flashbacks show how the Clean Crew were indirectly impacted by the bad guys' old heists, adding moral complexity. They are not just villains. They see themselves as righteous avengers, using extreme methods to clean society. Themes of guilt, second chances, and social judgment dominate this act. The narrative plays with the audience's expectations. Are the bad guys slipping back into their old ways? Can people really change? Act 3. The final score, truth, sacrifice, and closure. This act serves as the film's emotional and narrative payoff. The bad guys launch a meticulously planned counter-heist during a public awards ceremony, where the Clean Crew plans to unveil their ultimate heist, stealing a powerful AI system disguised as a new public security platform. Climactic sequence. The bad guys infiltrate the event using both brains and brawn, showcasing each member's unique skill. A live broadcast exposes the Clean Crew's plan to manipulate the city's surveillance grid for personal gain. Mr. Snake sacrifices his safety to protect a group of children during a building evacuation, earning public respect. Mr. Wolf lets the Clean Crew escape briefly in order to save Diane, showing his values have truly changed. The sequence is fast, visually engaging, and packed with emotional depth, balancing spectacle with personal growth. Resolution. The long road to acceptance. With the Clean Crew exposed and arrested, the bad guys are exonerated. However, they reject returning to the spotlight. They choose to continue helping others quietly, without fanfare, finally realizing that being good isn't about applause, but about purpose. The final scene is quietly powerful. The team sitting on a rooftop, watching the sunrise, knowing they've earned their peace, not through showy acts, but through real transformation. Performing art's emotional and thematic impact. The narrative excels at merging light-hearted comedy with mature themes. Redemption is not linear. The film explores how trust is earned slowly and can be lost in an instant. Societal judgment. Even after changing, the characters are treated as criminals, a commentary on how society resists forgiving people with a dark past. True heroism. The story emphasizes that real heroes aren't perfect. They just keep doing what's right, even when it's hard or thankless. White-heavy checkmark conclusion. The Bad Guys, 2025, delivers a well-crafted, emotionally satisfying narrative. It sticks to a conventional three-act structure but enriches it with thoughtful character arcs, moral dilemmas, and sharp social commentary. The plot moves with urgency and purpose, balancing laugh-out-loud moments with heartfelt emotion, and ultimately delivers a message that's both hopeful and grounded in reality. Key: anyone can change, But change only matters when it's real and when it's tested. Let me know if you'd like a separate breakdown of each character's arc or a visual timeline. The Bad Guys, 2025. Character development in great detail. The Bad Guys, 2025, excels in expanding and deepening its central characters, moving beyond the playful archetypes established in the first film and delivering emotionally resonant growth arcs. While maintaining the comedic and exaggerated traits that define each character, the sequel adds new dimensions to their personalities, relationships, and personal struggles. The film treats redemption not as a destination, but as an ongoing process, one that requires effort, setbacks, and the courage to keep moving forward even when public opinion, personal doubts, and old habits threaten to pull them back. Wolf-Face Mr. Wolf, the idealist torn between validation and integrity. Mr. Wolf, the group's charming and confident leader, is the emotional anchor of the story. In the first film, his motivation to change was sparked by the thrill of doing good. In this sequel, he seeks to prove their goodness to the world, but quickly learns that public validation can't be the reason for change. Arc highlights. Friends, if you want to watch the fun-filled animated adventure movie The Bad Guys, 2025, in English, then make sure to like this video. And if you're visiting our channel for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated with the latest movie content. In today's video, we are going to talk about the much-awaited sequel, The Bad Guys 2025. We'll explore what this movie is all about, where you can watch it, and share some really exciting and lesser-known facts about the film. I'll be telling you everything, from which OTT platform or satellite channel you can stream The Bad Guys 2025 on, to details about its production, music, animation work, budget, and box office performance. Not only that, we'll dive into the storyline of the film, give a short review, and talk about how it connects to the first part. We'll also discuss the star cast, voice actors, their performances, and which character is playing what role this time around. So friends, make sure to watch this video till the end. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up about The Bad Guys 2025. Let's begin. The Bad Guys 2025, plot and narrative analysis. From a third-person perspective, in great detail. The Bad Guys 2025 picks up after the events of the original film, continuing the redemption arc of its central characters, Mr. Wolf, Mr. Snake, Ms. Tarantula, Mr. Shark, and Mr. Piranha, who have now embraced the path of good. However, while they've cleaned up their act, the world still doesn't fully trust them, and that lingering suspicion forms the emotional backdrop of the story. The narrative follows a linear progression, structured around a traditional three-act format, but it adds layers through character-driven flashbacks and moral ambiguity. It avoids overused tropes by diving deeper into the psychology of doing good for the wrong reasons versus doing good because it's right, giving the story a more mature emotional foundation despite its comedic tone. Act 1, a second chance, or a setup. The film opens with the bad guys enjoying their newfound celebrity status as reformed criminals, now running a legitimate security consultancy business. However, peace is short-lived. A mysterious series of high-tech heists starts occurring across the city, and the evidence shockingly points back to the bad guys themselves. This inciting incident kicks off the central conflict. The team must clear their name and figure out who is framing them. The public quickly turns against them, and law enforcement places them under surveillance, reawakening old tensions among the crew. Act 2, Who's Really Bad? The middle portion of the film delves into both mystery and emotional introspection. As the team investigates, they discover that a new villainous group, calling themselves the Clean Crew, is behind the robberies. This crew claims to be the real heroes, using manipulated evidence to make the bad guys look guilty and justify their own rise. This leads to multiple turning points. Mr. Snake considers abandoning the group again, unsure if redemption is truly possible in a world that keeps judging them. Mr. Wolf wrestles with the pressure of leadership and his need for public validation. Flashbacks reveal motivations behind the new villains, showing that they were once collateral damage in the bad guys' former life of crime. This layer of personal accountability gives the film a strong thematic core. Can people ever truly escape their past, and do second chances really exist? Act 3, Redemption in Action. In the climactic act, the bad guys stage a bold counter-heist, not to steal, but to reveal the truth. They infiltrate a gala where the Clean Crew plans to commit their final crime, using both cunning and cooperation to expose the real culprits live on national TV. The climax is fast-paced, thrilling, and emotionally charged. Mr. Snake saves a crowd at great personal risk, finally gaining the public's respect. Mr. Wolf gives up a chance at escaping to ensure justice is done, cementing his transformation. Resolution and emotional impact. The film ends with a bittersweet victory. The bad guys are exonerated, but they choose to walk away from the spotlight and continue their good deeds quietly. This ending reflects a matured philosophy. Doing good isn't about applause, but about impact. The final scenes focus on quiet moments of friendship, personal growth, and societal acceptance, subtle yet powerful, leaving the audience with an emotional resonance that lingers beyond the comedic surface. Conclusion. The Bad Guys, 2025, offers a well-balanced plot that blends comedy, heist thrills, and emotional depth. It respects the structure of traditional storytelling while injecting enough surprises and character evolution to keep the narrative fresh. Themes of trust, redemption, and the true meaning of heroism are woven organically into the story, making it both entertaining and meaningful for audiences of all ages. The Bad Guys, 2025, plot and narrative in great detail. Overview of narrative structure. The Bad Guys, 2025, follows a conventional three-act narrative but enhances it with character-driven tension, parallel arcs, and layered themes of redemption, identity, and moral ambiguity. The plot unfolds linearly but utilizes subtle flashbacks and momentary shifts in perspective to deepen character motivations and the overarching mystery. The film balances high-stakes heist. He starts the film relishing their status as city heroes, but his desperation for public acceptance becomes a flaw. He tries to maintain a squeaky-clean image even when they are wrongfully accused, which creates tension within the group. When framed, he initially considers using underhanded tactics to fight back, showing his inner conflict. Through guidance from Diane and hard-earned experience, Wolf realizes that being good means doing the right thing even when it's unseen, unrewarded, or misunderstood. By the end, Mr. Wolf matures from a leader who seeks approval to one who acts out of conviction. Snake Mr. Snake, the cynic struggling to believe in second chances. Mr. Snake undergoes perhaps the most emotionally complex journey in the film. In the first movie, he reluctantly embraced the idea of change. In The Bad Guys, 2025, he begins to question if that change even matters when society still sees them as villains. Arc highlights. Early in the film, Snake is visibly frustrated. Helping others seems to make no difference in how they are perceived. His sarcastic, defensive attitude masks deep vulnerability. He doesn't want to be rejected again, so he considers going back to crime. A pivotal moment comes when he protects a group of children during the final act, putting his own life in danger. This act of bravery isn't for attention. It's instinctive, proving he has changed. Mr. Snake's arc is a powerful exploration of self-worth and loyalty, showing how even the most reluctant characters can rise to become true heroes when it counts. Ms. Tarantula, the tech genius with a growing sense of responsibility. Ms. Tarantula, aka Webbs, remains the group's hacker and tech wizard, but in the sequel, she plays a larger strategic role. She is no longer just the tech sidekick. She emerges as a critical thinker and even a moral compass for the team. Arc highlights. Early in the film, Webbs is instrumental in uncovering the digital trail that exposes the clean crew. She often challenges Mr. Wolf's decisions, pushing for logic over ego, and keeping the team grounded. Her most powerful moment comes when she decides to leak sensitive information to the public, risking their own safety for the greater good. Webbs represents intellectual courage, someone who realizes that doing the right thing sometimes means disrupting systems, even when it's uncomfortable. Mr. Shark, the heart of the team. Mr. Shark continues to be the lovable, emotional core of the group, the gentle giant who breaks tension with humor but also holds the crew together with empathy. Arc highlights. He serves as a mediator, especially when Mr. Snake starts to drift away from the team. While his still comic relief, the sequel gives him moments of unexpected wisdom, showing that kindness and intuition can be just as strategic as brute force. His loyalty never wavers, making him a symbol of emotional intelligence in the group. Shark's development may be quieter than others, but it's crucial. He embodies the film's message that goodness isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's steady, simple, and dependable. Mr. Piranha, the impulsive rebel learning self-control. Mr. Piranha continues to be wild and impulsive, acting as the team's chaotic energy. But in this film, he's pushed to confront the consequences of his actions. Arc highlights. A mid-film subplot has Piranha accidentally drawing attention to the team through reckless behavior. He becomes the comic symbol of doing the right thing for the wrong reason, helping people because it's exciting, not because it's right. His turning point comes when a joke gone wrong nearly jeopardizes the final mission, forcing him to mature and take responsibility. While his journey is more comedic than emotional, Piranha's development adds a critical layer. The need for growth isn't just about intention, it's also about discipline. Fox-face Diane Foxington, the bridge between two worlds. Although not officially part of the gang, Diane plays a pivotal role in the emotional evolution of the team, especially Mr. Wolf. Arc highlights. She represents what the bad guys could become, someone who left her criminal life behind and built public trust through consistent actions. She challenges Wolf's motivations, reminding him that redemption isn't about ego. Diane also faces her own conflict, balancing her duty to the city with her loyalty to the team, showing that doing good often comes at personal cost. Bullseye interpersonal growth and group dynamics. Beyond individual arcs, The Bad Guys, 2025, shines in how it develops team dynamics. Conflict and reconciliation between Snake and Wolf test the group's loyalty. Mutual respect grows between Webbs and Wolf, shifting the team away from top-down leadership to more collaborative strategy. They learn to communicate better, confront emotional baggage, and embrace vulnerability, proving that true heroism often lies in self-awareness and trust. End with left arrow above conclusion. The Bad Guys, 2025, demonstrates that great character development doesn't require abandoning humor or action. It requires depth, consistency, and emotional truth. Every character in the film undergoes a meaningful transformation, shaped by internal struggle, moral dilemmas, and changing relationships. This film not only deepens the audience's connection with these characters, but also reinforces a timeless message. Old-fashioned being good isn't about what others think, it's about what you choose to do, especially when no one is watching. Let me know if you'd like individual scene breakdowns or a visual character arc chart. Mr. Wolf, from leader to legacy builder. Surface traits: charming, confident, charismatic, suave. Deeper traits: approval-seeking, emotionally repressed, secretly insecure. Mr. Wolf's development is the emotional centerpiece of the film. While he initially stepped into the role of the good guy out of a desire for a new thrill in the first film, this time he is tested by how far he'll go to maintain the illusion of goodness, even if it means hiding the truth. Psychological journey. Wolf begins the film obsessed with public perception. His need for societal validation is rooted in years of being treated as irredeemable. Having finally gained public affection, he clings to it tightly. His leadership becomes increasingly strained when the team is framed. He insists they continue acting above board, even as the group crumbles from within. Diane serves as a mirror and foil to his character. Her calm moral compass pushes him to reflect. Do I want to be seen as good, or do I want to be good, even if it costs me everything? In the climax, Wolf sacrifices visibility for authenticity, choosing to save lives and expose corruption at the cost of losing his new reputation. He begins leading from the heart, not ego. Final transformation. From a self-styled hero to a humble leader, Wolf realizes that legacy isn't built on applause, it's built on impact. Snake Mr. Snake, the defensive survivor finally letting people in. Surface traits: sarcastic, cold, untrusting. Deeper traits: emotionally wounded, sensitive, loyal to a fault. Snake's arc is the most emotionally vulnerable and layered. His behavior is shaped by abandonment issues and societal rejection, which have conditioned him to expect betrayal. Psychological journey. Snake feels increasingly alienated. Despite doing everything right, society still sees him as a predator. He begins to question the point of trying to change at all. His resentment turns inward. He lashes out, not because he doesn't care, but because caring hasn't earned him any peace. His temporary split from the group is heartbreaking. It's not an act of rebellion, it's a cry for emotional safety. He's tired of being hurt, misunderstood, and untrusted. During the third act, Snake chooses empathy over cynicism, risking himself to save children from harm. It's a quiet but monumental decision, not done for fame or redemption, but because he knows it's right. Final transformation. Snake finally begins to accept that his worth isn't based on others' approval. He grows from a bitter loner into a protective, self-respecting team member, someone who acts from the heart, not fear. Ms. Tarantula, Webbs. The voice of reason becomes the conscience. Surface traits: cool, quick-witted, brilliant hacker. Deeper traits: rational, justice-driven, morally grounded. Webbs continues to be the team's logistical mastermind, but this time she takes on a deeper moral role within the group. Where Wolf represents charisma and Snake represents doubt, Webbs represents clarity. Psychological journey. She begins to challenge Wolf's obsession with reputation. While others react emotionally, Webbs insists on truth and justice over image. She becomes the team's strategist of integrity, organizing missions not just for exoneration, but to protect innocent lives and expose systemic flaws. Her biggest moment comes when she faces a choice: protect the team's safety or leak incriminating digital evidence to the public that will clear their names and stop the real villains. She chooses truth. Webbs also guides younger viewers through a subtle lesson. Tech isn't about power, it's about responsibility. Final transformation. She evolves from being the team's hacker sidekick into a full-blown moral leader, someone who balances logic, courage, and conscience, keeping the group grounded and on the right path. Shark Mr. Shark, comic relief with a serious emotional core. Surface traits: funny, energetic, dramatic. Deeper traits: emotionally intelligent, loyal, empathetic. Mr. Shark remains the heart and soul of the group. His childlike humor and over-the-top disguises mask a surprising depth of emotional awareness. In many ways, he's the glue that keeps the team from falling apart. Psychological journey. Shark's story is not about changing who he is. It's about realizing the power of who he already is. He constantly plays the role of peacekeeper between Snake and Wolf, de-escalating tension and creating space for healing. When Snake leaves the team, Shark is the only one who reaches out with unconditional love. No lectures, no pressure, just support. He shows that kindness doesn't have to be loud or flashy. It just has to be consistent and genuine. Final transformation. Shark doesn't radically change. Instead, the film validates that his gentle, caring personality is just as heroic as any tech skill or leadership trait. Fish Mr. Piranha, the wild card who learns the weight of his actions. Surface traits: impulsive, reckless, overly enthusiastic. Deeper traits: insecure, eager for approval, misunderstood. Piranha is still the team's chaos machine, loud, funny, and unpredictable. But in this film, his arc revolves around understanding maturity and restraint. Psychological journey. In the beginning, he treats heroism like a game. He acts for attention, even during serious missions. A major subplot shows how his antics attract unwanted attention that puts the team in danger, forcing him to face the ripple effect of immaturity. Later, he steps up during a critical moment to neutralize a bomb system, not because it's fun, but because lives are at stake. It's the first time he acts without expecting applause. He learns that being part of a team means checking your ego and choosing focus over frenzy. Final transformation. Piranha grows into someone who values the mission over the moment, a matured hero who still brings humor, but now with purpose. Foxface Diane Foxington, the unseen mentor. Though not as prominent on screen, Diane plays a vital symbolic role. She embodies what the bad guys aspire to become: fully reformed, respected, and self-assured. But even she grapples with trust, of herself, and of others. Psychological journey. She's torn between her duty as a public official and her loyalty to the group she once inspired. Her quiet scenes with Wolf are powerful. She doesn't tell him what to do. She challenges him to think about why he wants redemption. Her presence also demonstrates that transformation is possible, but it must come from within, not from public approval or politics. Group evolution. The power of collective growth. Each individual's growth feeds into a collective transformation. They move from codependence to interdependence, no longer needing constant validation, but working together out of trust. Conflicts are no longer brushed over. The group confronts tension head-on and resolves it through honesty. By the end, they are no longer reformed criminals trying to prove something. They are heroes who accept their past and live with purpose. Whiteheaver checkmark. Final summary. Redemption with depth. The Bad Guys, 2025, doesn't just entertain with clever dialogue and stylish animation. It offers rich, emotionally authentic character development. Each character reflects a different struggle within the journey of personal transformation: insecurity, cynicism, ego, impulsiveness, and fear, and each comes out the other side stronger, wiser, and more human, even if they are not humans at all. These layered arcs send a powerful message. Change is never easy. It's messy, slow, and imperfect. But it's always possible, especially when you have people who believe in you. The Bad Guys, 2025, performances, in great detail. The Bad Guys, 2025, thrives not only because of its clever writing and stylish animation, but because of the dynamic, emotionally rich voice performances that breathe life into its eclectic cast. The voice actors, both returning leads and new additions, provide more than just comedic timing or exaggerated cartoon energy. They deliver performances that are layered, emotionally resonant, and essential to the film's success. Wolf-face Sam Rockwell as Mr. Wolf, the charismatic core. Sam Rockwell once again delivers a masterclass in animated voice acting. His portrayal of Mr. Wolf walks a fine line between smooth-talking charm and inner turmoil. From the first scene, Rockwell's voice captures the magnetic charisma that defines Mr. Wolf, cool, persuasive, and effortlessly likable. However, it's in the more introspective moments that his performance truly shines. As Mr. Wolf struggles with his need for approval and his fear of failure, Rockwell's delivery softens, slows, and subtly cracks, allowing viewers to feel the emotional tension beneath the surface. Performance highlights. His layered tone during a rooftop confession to Diane about feeling never quite enough adds emotional gravity to the film. Rockwell balances swagger and vulnerability, making Mr. Wolf feel like a fully realized protagonist, not just a cartoon archetype. Verdict: a standout performance that anchors the film emotionally and narratively. Snake Marc Maron as Mr. Snake, the emotional wild card. Marc Maron returns as Mr. Snake with a performance that is raw, unpredictable, and deeply affecting. Maron's sarcastic, biting delivery perfectly fits the character's jaded outlook, but in this sequel, he is given more emotional weight and nuance. As Snake begins to question whether redemption is even worth the effort, Maron skillfully conveys that struggle, often flipping from venomous cynicism to genuine emotional hurt in a single line. Performance highlights. In a scene where Snake lashes out at the team, Maron injects a sense of real pain behind the anger, transforming what could have been a comedic beat into a dramatic turning point. His voice during the rescue sequence in the third act shifts from panic to resolve with chilling authenticity. Verdict: a breakout emotional performance. Maron gives Mr. Snake a beating heart beneath the scales. Awkwafina as Ms. Tarantula, Webbs, cool, controlled, and commanding. Awkwafina reprises her role as Webbs with more maturity and gravity than before. In the first film, her performance leaned heavily on sharp wit and comic timing. In The Bad Guys, 2025, she elevates the role by giving Webbs a calm authority and subtle emotional intelligence. Awkwafina's performance captures a young woman with the brain of a genius and the emotional poise of a leader. Her control over pace and tone allows her to deliver powerful lines with quiet intensity, a welcome contrast to the chaos around her. Performance highlights. In a heated scene where Webbs challenges Wolf's obsession with image, Awkwafina's delivery is biting yet balanced, channeling disappointment, urgency, and conviction. Her emotional restraint during her most courageous moments makes her character feel even more grounded. Verdict: a cool-headed, commanding performance that matures along with the character. Shark Craig Robinson as Mr. Shark, comedic heart with emotional resonance. Craig Robinson once again delivers a perfect mix of humor and humanity. His natural warmth and improvisational energy shine through every line of Mr. Shark's dialogue, offering comic relief without ever feeling superficial or hollow. In The Bad Guys, 2025, Robinson adds new emotional dimensions to Mr. Shark. His nurturing instincts and heartfelt loyalty are felt more deeply, especially in scenes where he tries to mediate team conflicts. Performance highlights. His soothing tone in scenes with Mr. Snake adds emotional authenticity, showing how Shark uses empathy to bridge emotional gaps. His comic timing, particularly during a disguise sequence, is pitch-perfect and organically funny. Verdict: a soulful comedic performance that keeps the emotional tone of the film balanced and sincere. Fish Anthony Ramos as Mr. Piranha, energetic with a hint of growth. Anthony Ramos brings unfiltered energy to Mr. Piranha, a performance full of chaos, charm, and childlike excitement. What makes Ramos's portrayal more effective in the sequel is the subtle layering of restraint and self-doubt underneath the high-octane delivery. As Piranha begins to mature, Ramos shifts gears effectively. His voice transitions from hyperactivity to cautious resolve in key scenes, showing how even the wildest character can grow without losing their essence. Performance highlights. A moment where Piranha apologizes for a reckless mistake feels refreshingly sincere, thanks to Ramos dialing back his usual rapid-fire delivery. His outbursts remain hilarious but never feel out of place in the evolving story. Verdict: a chaotic but grounded performance that makes Piranha both lovable and believable. Fox-face Zazie Beetz as Diane Foxington, steady, subtle, sophisticated. Zazie Beetz returns as Diane Foxington and provides one of the most subtly powerful performances in the film. Diane doesn't get as much screen time as the core group, but every moment she's present feels important, largely thanks to Beats' commanding and graceful delivery. She plays Diane as calm, composed, and morally centered, a character who leads by example rather than force. Beats infuses her lines with measured strength and emotional intelligence, making her the film's moral compass. Performance highlights. Her dialogue with Mr. Wolf about what it means to do the right thing is delivered with such quiet sincerity, it lingers in the mind long after. Even her silences, aided by the character's animated expressions, feel charged with meaning, thanks to the restraint and nuance in her voice work. Verdict: a quietly impactful performance that elevates the film's emotional core. Busts in silhouette supporting cast and new additions, effective, thematic, and purposeful. New characters introduced as members of the clean crew are voiced by a talented mix of actors, each delivering performances that contrast with the bad guy's warmth and vulnerability. These antagonists are performed with precision and smug righteousness, helping to accentuate the humanity of the core team. Though these characters are more ideological symbols than complex personalities, the vocal performances make them memorable, smooth, robotic, and cold, reflecting a false sense of heroism. Verdict: effective support that deepens the moral contrast of the story. Performing Arts overall assessment of performances. The entire voice cast of The Bad Guys, 2025, commits fully to their roles, not just for laughs, but for emotional impact and thematic weight. What could have remained a light, formulaic animated sequel instead becomes something much richer, thanks to performances that are grounded in character psychology, vulnerability, and emotional honesty. The core ensemble functions like a well-tuned orchestra, each voice distinct but in harmony. The performances mirror the film's themes: trust, identity, redemption, and the need to be seen as more than a label. From witty banter to soul-bearing monologues, every moment feels earned because the actors are fully in sync with their characters' inner journeys. Final verdict: The Bad Guys, 2025, features a rare level of emotional authenticity in its vocal performances. Every actor elevates their role beyond animation, delivering work that is nuanced, resonant, and often surprisingly moving. It's not just a voice cast, it's a character ensemble performing at its peak. Let me know if you'd like a breakdown of specific performance moments per scene, or how these performances compare to the first film. Sam Rockwell as Mr. Wolf, a masterclass in vocal subtext. Performance overview. Sam Rockwell's return as Mr. Wolf is far more nuanced than a typical animated lead. He doesn't just speak lines, he acts with his voice, using rhythm, tone, and subtle pauses to reflect internal struggles. His voice glides through charm, insecurity, sarcasm, fear, and eventually humility, delivering a layered character study. Vocal techniques. Fast-paced delivery in public scenes projects confidence and leadership. Slow, almost whispery tone in private moments with Diane or Snake reveals emotional vulnerability. Crisp diction helps communicate Wolf's need for control, until the third act, where his voice becomes more raw and instinctive, showing transformation. Emotional modulation. When falsely accused, Rockwell modulates his tone to blend disbelief with panic, reflecting a man losing grip on the identity he's built. In his final speech to the city, his delivery drops all performative energy, grounding the scene in raw, genuine sincerity. Chemistry. His dynamic with Diane, Zazie Beetz, is particularly effective, full of restraint and tension. There's unspoken history conveyed through tonal shifts and pauses between dialogue beats. Impact. Rockwell's performance transforms Mr. Wolf from a comic antihero into a three-dimensional protagonist whose emotional arc is felt as much in his voice as in his actions. Snake. Marc Maron as Mr. Snake, emotional range at its sharpest. Performance overview. Marc Maron gives one of the most emotionally expressive voice performances in recent animated cinema. He captures the emotional volatility of a character torn between bitterness and yearning, using raw delivery and sharp tonal contrasts. Vocal techniques. Low-register grumbles and muttering when Snake is annoyed or defensive. Sudden voice cracks or shouts in arguments with Wolf, revealing that his anger is rooted in pain. His signature drawling sarcasm softens in later scenes, suggesting emotional surrender rather than defeat. Emotional peaks. The scene where Snake accuses the world of never seeing them as more than monsters is delivered with such intensity and heartbreak. It elevates what could be a standard emotional beat into a genuinely painful reckoning. His redemption scene during the rescue mission uses minimal dialogue, yet his heavy breathing, softened speech, and trembling tone make the moment unforgettable. Chemistry. The friendship-turned-conflict-turned-repair dynamic with Mr. Wolf is driven by vocal tension. Every sharp line between them feels personal. In scenes with Mr. Shark, Maron shifts into a gentler, defeated tone, revealing his affection beneath the gruffness. Impact. Maron turns Snake from a comedic skeptic into the film's emotional centerpiece, showcasing how vocal fragility can convey complex trauma and healing. Awkwafina as Ms. Tarantula, Webs. Precision in performance. Performance overview. Awkwafina brings sharp timing and intellectual strength to Webs, delivering lines with clinical precision and subtle emotional undertones. She's not loud, but her confidence is deeply felt. Her voice work reflects a mind that's always calculating, yet still emotionally aware. Vocal techniques. Heist. Clip delivery matches the fast-processing nature of a tech genius. Deadpan delivery of sarcastic one-liners contrasts beautifully with the heightened emotion around her. When she does express emotion, her voice becomes more measured and deliberate, signaling moral weight. Emotional modulation. She maintains emotional control most of the time, which makes the rare moments of passion or fear far more impactful. During a high-stakes hacking sequence, her rising pitch and breathless delivery subtly signal stress without breaking her composed tone. Chemistry. Her conversations with Wolf are often confrontational but full of respectful subtext. She's the only one who dares to verbally challenge him. With Snake, she's sarcastic and snappy, but her tone softens after the team splinters, conveying regret and disappointment without needing a monologue. Impact. Awkwafina anchors the film with a performance that proves leadership isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's calm, quiet, and unshakable. Shark Craig Robinson as Mr. Shark, disarming warmth with comedic precision. Performance overview. Craig Robinson continues to be the comedic soul of the film, but this time he adds emotional gravitas and unexpected insight to Shark's character. He doesn't just bring laughs. He invites trust through the natural rhythm and kindness in his voice. Vocal techniques. Warm, rounded vocal tone that never feels threatening, even in intense scenes. Controlled improvisation. Feels spontaneous but always lands with intention. Occasionally lowers his pitch to become the team's calming presence. Emotional modulation. When the group is fractured, Robinson's voice takes on a gently pleading quality, especially in scenes where he tries to bring Snake back. His performance during group reconciliation is empathetic but not melodramatic, showing strength through kindness. Chemistry. Shark acts as an emotional bridge. Robinson's vocal inflections make every interaction feel comforting, from joking with Piranha to supporting Wolf or Snake. His scenes with children during the climax are played with natural sincerity, reinforcing the idea that Mr. Shark's empathy is his superpower. Impact. A performance full of heart and subtle intelligence, Robinson proves that comedic characters can be emotional anchors when given the space. Fish Anthony Ramos as Mr. Piranha, from frenzied to focused. Performance overview. Anthony Ramos takes on a difficult task, making a high-energy, often immature character believable in a more serious film. His success lies in how he modulates chaos into clarity, showing real growth in Piranha. Vocal techniques. Feist, excited, slightly high-pitched delivery dominates early scenes, giving Piranha his signature manic charm. As the stakes rise, Ramos slows his delivery, speaks with more deliberation, and uses lower tones, signaling internal growth. Emotional modulation. A key moment features Piranha freezing in panic. Ramos conveys self-doubt through vocal trembling and stammering. When he later takes responsibility, his voice steadies, showing us a character learning to focus, not just act. Chemistry. His dynamic with Shark is wonderfully kinetic. They bounce off each other with natural rhythm, like true best friends. His apologies to the team carry unexpected emotional weight, revealing a sincere desire to evolve. Impact. Ramos brings authenticity to a loud character, giving Piranha a credible arc of emotional and behavioral growth. Foxface Zazie Beetz as Diane Foxington, elegance and gravitas. Performance overview. Zazie Beetz Diane is not just a character, she's a symbol of what the bad guys could become. Her voice carries confidence, poise, and restraint, reflecting someone who has fought her own battles and emerged with wisdom. Vocal techniques. Beetz uses a calm, mid-range register, which contrasts beautifully with the volatility of the bad guys. Her diction is measured and thoughtful, giving every line a feeling of importance, as if every word is chosen with care. Emotional modulation. During confrontations with Wolf, her voice lowers and her tempo slows, emphasizing emotional gravity. Even in scenes where she says little, her tone conveys a wealth of internal thought, regret, nostalgia, resolve. Chemistry. Her rapport with Rockwell, Wolf, is full of restrained intimacy. Their voice acting choices make you feel their shared past. With the team, she plays a guiding, mentoring role without condescension. Her voice speaks like someone who's been through it. Impact. Zazie Beetz lends the film elegance and emotional authority. Her performance gives the story its moral backbone. Clapperboard ensemble performance dynamics. The true strength of The Bad Guys, 2025, lies in its ensemble voice work. Overlap dialogue is frequent and natural, showing actors responding to each other, not just reading lines in isolation. There's a harmonic rhythm in group scenes, each voice distinctive, yet blending in a way that enhances group identity. Emotional crescendos, e.g., team conflict, climax, reconciliation, benefit from mutual escalation, where characters push each other emotionally through performance, not just writing. Whiteheaver checkmark final verdict. The Bad Guys, 2025, features some of the finest ensemble voice performances in modern animation. Every lead actor elevates their character through masterful vocal acting that balances humor, emotion, tension, and charm. The cast doesn't just perform, they inhabit their roles, and the result is a film that resonates with emotional truth, character depth, and storytelling richness. Would you like this adapted into a voiceover script, review video format, or performance comparison with The Bad Guys, 2022? Tone and mood, balanced between mischief and maturity. From the opening frame, it's clear the director is walking a tightrope between fun and gravity. The tone is never one-dimensional, rather, it oscillates between light-hearted comedy fueled by snappy dialogue and quirky character antics. Emotional depth, particularly in scenes of self-doubt, betrayal, or personal growth. High-stakes tension, especially in the third act when the team faces its toughest moral and physical challenges. This tonal balance is carefully controlled through shot pacing, musical timing, and performance modulation. Emotional scenes are given breathing room, while chase sequences snap with rhythmic precision. The director understands that tone isn't just about the script, it's about visual tempo, lighting dynamics, and performance calibration. The result is a film that feels cohesive, never jarring, even as it shifts genres moment to moment. Movie camera visual storytelling and composition, animated with cinematic brilliance. Stylistically, The Bad Guys, 2025, borrows heavily from classic heist and noir cinema, but reinterprets those influences through the vibrant, kinetic lens of animation. Camera movement. Though animated, the virtual camera emulates real-world cinematography, with whip pans, Dutch angles, low-angle hero shots, and crash zooms that add energy and tension. The director employs handheld-style shaky shots in chaotic scenes to simulate realism and disorientation. Framing and blocking. The director demonstrates mastery of group staging. Even in wide ensemble shots, each character is positioned with storytelling intent. For instance, when conflict arises, characters are visually separated by shadows, walls, or asymmetric framing to subtly emphasize emotional distance. Color theory. A sophisticated use of lighting and color palettes sets each narrative beat. Neon cityscapes echo the electric energy of urban heists. Earth-toned flashbacks invoke emotional intimacy and past regrets. Stark, desaturated tones appear in moments of betrayal, conveying moral ambiguity. The direction ensures that every shot contributes not just to aesthetic beauty but to narrative clarity and emotional subtext. Stopwatch hash pacing and rhythm, kinetic without being chaotic. Pacing is one of the director's most precise tools in this film. The movie unfolds with a rhythm that mirrors its themes, sometimes smooth and coordinated like a well-planned heist, and other times erratic and broken, reflecting the character's internal disarray. Act I is tight and breezy, focused on setup and momentum. Act 2 breathes, allowing for introspection and character development. Act 3 accelerates again with cross-cutting action scenes, rapidly escalating stakes and overlapping narrative threads, but never loses coherence. Moments of silence or slow motion are used sparingly but effectively. For instance, during a pivotal turning point when Mr. Wolf must choose between loyalty and truth, the camera holds still, and the silence is deafening. It's a brilliant use of negative space and stillness in contrast to the film's otherwise dynamic rhythm. Narrative vision, a director with something to say. While on the surface The Bad Guys, 2025, is a stylized caper, the director uses the film to explore deeper themes. Identity and redemption, visual motifs, such as mirrors, masks, and shadows, reinforce the idea of duality and the struggle between past labels and future potential. Team dynamics and emotional labor. Through overlapping voice performances, visual blocking, and shared moments of silence, the film examines what it means to trust, disappoint, and ultimately forgive one another. The director is clearly interested in characters as more than archetypes. They are vehicles for emotional exploration, societal commentary, and moral ambiguity, all delivered in an accessible, family-friendly format. Electric light bulb unique stylistic choices, evolution over replication. Compared to the 2022 original, the director makes several bold stylistic advancements. Hybrid animation style blends 2D visual flourishes, like speed lines and graphic overlays, with 3D environments to give action scenes a hand-drawn feel reminiscent of Spider-Verse, but maintains its own identity. Flashback sequences, done in sepia-toned, pencil sketch animation, giving the film a textural and emotional variety that breaks visual monotony and enriches the backstory. Split screens and graphic transitions. These are used not as gimmicks but to emphasize simultaneous action or character dilemmas, aiding both pacing and dramatic tension. These choices are not superficial. They serve storytelling. Every stylistic flair is anchored in character motivation or plot development. Checkered flag conclusion, a director in full command of story and style. The Bad Guys, 2025, is not just an animated sequel. It's a director-led evolution of the franchise's potential. With a steady hand, the filmmaker crafts a visually rich, emotionally resonant, and thematically layered experience that respects its young audience while challenging them to engage with ideas of morality, trust, and transformation. In a landscape full of animated films that play it safe, this director dares to give style, emotion, and narrative equal weight, and in doing so, elevates the movie from fun entertainment to meaningful storytelling. Camera angles, crafting perspective and power dynamics. One of the film's strongest visual elements lies in its deliberate use of camera angles to shape perspective, both literally and emotionally. Low-angle shots are used frequently to give the characters, particularly Mr. Wolf and Mr. Snake, a larger-than-life, almost antiheroic presence. It emphasizes their swagger and confidence, especially during heist or chase scenes. High-angle shots subtly reinforce vulnerability, used notably during moments of self-doubt or failure. For example, when a team member confronts their past mistakes, the angle shifts to make them appear isolated and small in a wide, overwhelming environment. Over-the-shoulder and POV shots are also used tactically, especially in scenes of mistrust or confrontation, to heighten tension and place the audience directly into a character's psychological state. These choices aren't just aesthetic. They shape how viewers interpret each character's emotional weight and status in a given moment. Electric light bulb lighting, painting mood and symbolism. Despite being digitally rendered, the lighting in The Bad Guys, 2025, carries the nuance and purpose of traditional cinematography. The film's lighting palette is dynamic, helping establish tone, underscore themes, and guide the emotional rhythm of scenes. High-contrast lighting is used in chase sequences and heist planning scenes, with strong key lights and deep shadows evoking a film noir aesthetic, a direct homage to classic crime cinema. Warm, diffused lighting appears in scenes of character bonding or emotional vulnerability, such as when the team reflects on their journey or makes critical moral decisions. Backlighting and rim lights help isolate characters during moments of inner conflict, visually framing them against abstract or symbolic backdrops. Color temperature shifts occur across acts. The film begins with cooler, slicker hues, blues, silvers, and gradually warms as the team's emotional arcs evolve, reflecting their movement from mistrust and ego toward teamwork and empathy. Lighting is never static. It evolves alongside the story and mirrors the emotional growth of the characters. Framed picture hash framing and composition, clarity, emotion, and symbolism. The framing throughout the film is both cinematically ambitious and emotionally deliberate. The team is often framed together in tight, horizontal compositions, symbolizing unity. But during internal conflict, frames become asymmetrical, isolating individuals in different thirds of the screen. Depth of field is used artfully in several emotional moments, especially during scenes of introspection. The foreground blurs while the background sharpens, or vice versa, creating a dreamlike sensation that draws attention to character psychology. Negative space is employed to underline emotional emptiness or detachment, especially visible when a character turns away from the group, literally framed on the far edge of the screen, with the rest of the space left blank. Symmetry and centered framing often signal pivotal turning points, giving these moments visual weight and signaling importance, like when the team reassembles after a major fallout. Framing is always purposeful, often echoing the emotional or thematic tone of the scene beyond just capturing the action. Police cars' revolving light, visually striking moments, cinematic highlights. Several scenes in The Bad Guys, 2025, stand out as cinematic showcases. The museum heist flashback, rendered in a stylized, sepia-toned color palette with overhead tracking shots and fast zoom-ins. The lighting flickers as security lights spin, building tension like a live-action thriller. The rooftop confrontation, a twilight-lit standoff scene where the orange-pink hues of the skyline contrast with dark silhouettes of the characters, symbolizing the internal war between light and darkness within them. Underwater escape sequence, brilliant use of murky blue-green lighting, blurred vision effects, and rising bubbles give a genuine sense of claustrophobia and urgency. Emotional reconciliation scene, quiet, moonlit setting. The characters sit near a bonfire, shadows flickering gently across their faces, captured in slow pans and wide, open framing to suggest hope and renewal. These scenes aren't just beautiful to look at. They use cinematography to deepen tension, texture, and emotion. Performing arts cinematography as emotional storytelling. The cinematography in The Bad Guys, 2025, isn't just about flashy visuals or kinetic energy. It consistently works in harmony with the narrative, character arcs, and dialogue. Whether it's through shifting angles, changing light palettes, or symbolic compositions, the visual storytelling speaks as loudly as the script. It enhances the emotional vulnerability of its characters, the stakes of their decisions, the richness of the world they inhabit. In an age where many animated films stick to functional visuals, The Bad Guys, 2025, proves that cinematography, even in a stylized cartoon world, can be just as evocative, cinematic, and narratively essential as in live-action storytelling. The Bad Guys, 2025, editing and pacing. A rhythmic balance of chaos, charm, and character growth. In The Bad Guys, 2025, the editing serves as a key storytelling instrument, carefully tuned to match the film's energetic tone, fast-paced heist sequences, and heartfelt emotional arcs. The editorial rhythm blends dynamic momentum with meaningful pauses, ensuring that viewers remain engaged without feeling overwhelmed. It's a delicate dance between action and reflection, spectacle and sincerity, and it's executed with noticeable precision. Stopwatch pacing, a carefully orchestrated tempo. From the opening scene to the final frame, the pacing of The Bad Guys, 2025, is crafted to mirror the story's emotional trajectory and tonal shifts. Opening act, setup. The film kicks off with a punchy, energetic rhythm. Rapid scene cuts, snappy dialogue, and kinetic montage sequences establish the stakes, reintroduce the team, and pull viewers immediately into the universe. Quick editing here reflects the mischievous nature of the group and their chaotic chemistry. Midsection, conflict and development. As the story deepens and character arcs take focus, the pacing slows slightly, but intentionally. Here, the editors allow scenes to breathe, giving space for conversations, moral dilemmas, and emotional turning points. These slower moments never drag, as they are intercut with light humor or short bursts of action to maintain forward momentum. Final act, climax and resolution. The third act accelerates once again, with tighter edits, cross-cutting between parallel action and escalating tension as the final heist unfolds. By now, the audience is emotionally invested, and the fast pace feels earned rather than overwhelming. The climax lands with both impact and clarity, thanks to coherent sequencing and strong visual rhythm. The pacing rhythmically mirrors the emotional heartbeat of the film, fast when the characters are plotting or escaping, slow when they are growing or reconciling. Film editing techniques, seamless, stylish, and story-driven. The editing in The Bad Guys, 2025, is not just functional, it's often expressive, blending visual style with narrative purpose. Some of the standout editing strategies include match cuts and graphic transitions. Transitioning between scenes often uses clever match cuts, such as a spinning coin morphing into a wheel, or a door slam turning into a flashback, which keeps the momentum fluid and visually satisfying. Montages. Training scenes, flashbacks, and heist planning sequences are conveyed through highly stylized montages, often accompanied by upbeat music and slick cuts. These sequences distill complex exposition into digestible, entertaining fragments. Cross-cutting for tension. During action scenes, editors cross-cut between multiple locations and characters. In the final act, for example, the editing shifts rapidly between Mr. Wolf diffusing a situation and Mr. Snake distracting guards, maintaining suspense while clearly following each storyline thread. Rhythmic cutting and beat matching. Musical beats and sound cues often guide the editing tempo, especially during comedic or high-energy scenes. This not only creates audiovisual harmony, but enhances the entertainment value without sacrificing narrative clarity. Performing arts' emotional impact through editorial timing. One of the more subtle strengths of the editing lies in how it supports emotional resonance. Pauses and silences. The editors aren't afraid of stillness. In scenes where characters experience doubt, conflict, or regret, the film slows down. Cuts are fewer, shots linger longer, and dialogue is allowed to settle, creating weight and intimacy. Cutting for character POV. Several emotional moments are edited to reflect the point of view of a specific character, helping the audience connect with their mental state. For example, when a character feels betrayed, the editing isolates their gaze, cuts the ambient sound, and holds on their expression slightly longer than expected. This editorial approach ensures that the viewer not only follows the story, but feels it unfold on a personal level. Structural flow and narrative cohesion. Beyond individual cuts and sequences, the overall structure of the film feels organic. Transitions between acts are fluid, character arcs are clearly threaded throughout, and each subplot is resolved without feeling rushed. Flashbacks and backstories are smoothly integrated via clean cutaways and audio cues, avoiding any disruption to the primary timeline. Parallel arcs are balanced well. Each team member gets screen time, and the editing ensures that no character or plotline feels neglected or out of sync with the main story. Even with its ensemble cast and multipronged plot, the editing keeps the narrative focused, cohesive, and emotionally grounded. Scales hash. Are there any weak spots? While the film's editing is largely commendable, there are a few moments in the second act where the pacing briefly slows due to heavy exposition. These sequences, usually when setting up the villain's motivations, could have been tightened without losing narrative substance. However, these moments are brief and often offset by visual humor or quick return to character-driven scenes. White have a checkmark. Conclusion. Editing that elevates the entire experience. In summary, The Bad Guys, 2025, showcases exceptional editorial craftsmanship. Its editing is sharp, expressive, and rhythmically tuned to its genre and tone. Whether it's amplifying the adrenaline of a heist, underscoring a quiet moment of doubt, or seamlessly weaving between parallel arcs, the editing never calls attention to itself but always enhances the viewer's experience. It's a fine example of how animated films can match and sometimes surpass live-action cinema in editorial sophistication. Would you like a shorter version for voiceover, or should I continue with the next category like sound design or music score? The Bad Guys, 2025, soundtrack and score. A sonic playground of style, emotion, and mischief. In The Bad Guys, 2025, the music is far more than a background element. It's a driving force that elevates tone, shapes emotional beats, and intensifies narrative pacing. The film's score and soundtrack play in perfect sync with its storytelling, functioning as both a thematic enhancer and a character in its own right. The musical choices, ranging from slick, jazzy heist cues to emotionally tender piano motifs, are thoughtfully composed and meticulously placed. This rich audio tapestry contributes significantly to the film's identity, offering both style and substance. Musical score by Daniel Pemberton, or similar style. Note, actual composer to be confirmed. Just like in the first film, the score is heavily influenced by heist cinema traditions, with strong jazz instrumentation, funk-infused bass lines, and pulsing rhythms. These elements establish a playful, rebellious tone that reflects the personalities of the main characters. Opening theme. The film kicks off with a returning jazzy overture, setting the scene for a fast-paced adventure. A modern twist on noir-style brass gives it a cool, crime caper feel while still being approachable for a younger audience. Character themes and motifs. Each core character is subtly associated with a recurring musical motif, woven into different moments of the story. For example, Mr. Wolf's theme might carry swagger and optimism. Mr. Snake's motif leans into sly, shifting harmonies that evolve as his character softens. Diane Foxington may have a more elegant, mysterious melody. These motifs transform throughout the film to reflect the character's emotional arcs and decisions, an effective technique that binds character growth to musical storytelling. Emotion through music, subtle but strong. The music does an impressive job of underlining the emotional shifts in the film. During moments of conflict or betrayal, the score drops into minimalist territory. Low, rumbling strings or echoing piano notes replace energetic cues, creating emotional tension and vulnerability. In scenes of redemption or reconciliation, Sweeping, warm instrumentals, typically strings or soft synths, rise to the foreground. These cues signal emotional breakthroughs without overdoing sentimentality. The score respects the intelligence of the audience, never spelling things out too bluntly, but guiding them gently through emotional moments. Headphone soundtrack choices, energetic and era-spanning. Alongside the original score, The Bad Guys, 2025, makes sharp use of licensed music and pop tracks, often for comedic or stylistic effect. Heist sequences. Funk tracks and electronic beats drive the momentum. Think of groovy, high-energy songs, possibly remixed classics, that match the fast cuts and confident moves of the team. These scenes are designed to be toe-tapping and adrenaline-boosting. Montages and chase scenes. Upbeat tracks, sometimes with lyrics, sometimes instrumental, create stylized momentum. These moments rely on the perfect marriage of visuals and sound, and the film executes that combo with precision. Character moments and humor. Some songs are used ironically, adding comedic value, e.g., a serious moment underscored by a silly, upbeat track. This clever contrast enhances the film's personality and makes certain scenes especially memorable. Counterclockwise arrows' use of silence and restraint. One of the most underappreciated aspects of the film's soundscape is its use of silence. In pivotal moments, especially during betrayals, twists, or emotional confessions, the music pulls back entirely. This use of quiet heightens tension, draws focus to dialogue, and allows the characters' expressions and performances to speak louder than any score. Silence, when used sparingly and effectively, becomes a storytelling tool, and The Bad Guys 2025 knows exactly when to lean into it. Multiple musical notes, integration and mixing, never overpowering. Technically, the sound mix ensures that the music complements rather than competes with the story. Dialogue always remains intelligible, and sound effects coexist fluidly with the musical score. In action scenes, the balance is especially impressive. The music builds energy without overwhelming the scene's clarity or pacing. Glowing star standout musical moments. Several standout sequences are elevated purely due to their musical brilliance. The Grand Heist montage. A layered orchestral electronic fusion track drives a fast-paced, multi-character sequence, turning a complex operation into a visual musical spectacle. Mr. Snake's moment of redemption. A minimalist solo piano piece, soft and vulnerable, underscores a crucial decision point, inviting the audience to feel his inner conflict. Final scene and credits. A triumphant medley of all character motifs builds into a celebratory, upbeat track that rolls into the end credits, leaving viewers with a feeling of closure and satisfaction. White heavy checkmark conclusion, a soundtrack that steals the show. The music of The Bad Guys, 2025, is stylish, purposeful, and emotionally resonant. It captures the mischievous spirit of its characters, adds dramatic tension to pivotal moments, and leaves behind several memorable auditory cues. Whether it's the jazz-infused score, the catchy montage songs, or the clever use of silence, the film's soundtrack is integral to its storytelling success. In many ways, the music becomes the sixth member of the crew, slick, charismatic, and impossible to ignore. The Bad Guys, 2025, themes and messages. A vibrant tale of redemption, identity, and second chances. At its heart, The Bad Guys, 2025, is more than a slick animated caper. It's a thoughtful exploration of personal transformation, morality, trust, and belonging. Through charming characters and a fast-paced plot, the film delivers layered messages that resonate with both younger and older audiences alike. It continues the thematic groundwork laid in the original film while deepening its emotional and philosophical inquiries. Rather than simply restating bad guys can be good, this sequel asks tougher questions. What does it truly mean to change? Can someone ever fully escape their past? And who gets to decide what makes someone bad? Glowing Star 1. Redemption and second chances. The most prominent theme in The Bad Guys 2025 is redemption, the belief that no one is defined solely by their past mistakes. While the first film saw the crew pretending to be good and accidentally becoming good, the sequel shows them grappling with staying good when the world still doubts them. Each member of the team is tested in different ways. Mr. Wolf begins to question whether trying to be a hero is worth it when people still assume the worst about him. Mr. Snake, formerly the most cynical, now faces temptation to relapse when confronted with old allies. The new antagonist might even serve as a dark mirror, a figure who once tried to change but was rejected, suggesting what the bad guys could become if they give up on trying. The film argues that redemption is not a one-time act but a constant, difficult choice. It's not about erasing the past, but proving your present and future. 2. Identity and labels. Another major message revolves around identity and how society labels individuals. The bad guys are literal embodiments of creatures associated with fear or villainy: a wolf, snake, shark, spider, and piranha. Even as they attempt to do good, they are judged by how they look and who they used to be. This reflects a broader social issue: how appearances and reputations unfairly shape expectations and opportunities. The film critiques the tendency of society to box people into fixed roles, denying them the opportunity to grow beyond their past. It challenges the audience to ask, are we allowing others to change, or do we trap them in our assumptions? This is especially relevant to young viewers navigating social roles and peer expectations, but it also speaks to adults dealing with reputational baggage or societal prejudice. Red Heart #3. Friendship, Loyalty and Found Family. As with the first movie, The Bad Guys, 2025, continues to celebrate the bonds of friendship and the idea of found family. Even when conflicts arise among the group, such as betrayal, doubt, or moral disagreements, their connection and loyalty ultimately triumph. This reflects a key message: true friendship allows space for growth, forgiveness, and support through transformation. Each character's arc is linked not just to their personal change, but to how they support or clash with others. Mr. Wolf and Diane Foxington's dynamic explores trust in romantic and leadership contexts. The group's loyalty is tested when one member's actions threaten to bring them all down, yet they ultimately rise together. Scales #4. Justice versus Revenge. The antagonist, potentially a wronged villain from the past, introduces a nuanced theme: the thin line between justice and revenge. By portraying a villain who claims to be exposing the truth or correcting past wrongs, but uses harmful means, the film opens a conversation about moral intent versus moral action. This contrasts with the protagonists, who may have questionable pasts but now act out of sincerity. It encourages viewers to consider ethics beyond black and white terms, pushing ideas of restorative justice over retribution. Globe showing Europe Africa 5. Breaking the Cycle. The bad guys' efforts to stay good, despite being dragged back into chaos, highlights the theme of breaking toxic cycles, of behavior, reputation, or trauma. The sequel subtly suggests that becoming good isn't just about acts, it's about interrupting cycles of mistrust, criminality, or self-doubt that are often inherited, socialized, or reinforced. Whether it's choosing honesty over deception, compassion over cynicism, or love over isolation, the film champions agency, the ability to rewrite one's own story. Speech Balloon 6. Belief in change. A recurring line or motif in the film may revolve around the phrase like, "People can change, if you let them." This isn't just aimed at the characters, but at the audience itself. The movie challenges viewers to reconsider how they judge others, support redemption rather than punish indefinitely, look for good in those written off by society. This theme is especially poignant in today's world, where public figures, institutions, and everyday people are constantly judged online and offline. It speaks to grace, patience, and the value of encouraging growth. White have a checkmark conclusion, thoughtful underneath the fun. Though The Bad Guys, 2025, is bursting with vibrant animation, clever humor, and thrilling action, its thematic core is quietly profound. Through its characters and plot, the film delivers important messages about morality, identity, and transformation, all without preaching or slowing down the fun. It's a rare animated film that entertains kids, engages teens, and leaves adults with something to ponder. And that's what makes The Bad Guys 2025 truly good at being bad. The Bad Guys, 2025, Visual Effects and CGI. A vivid showcase of animated mastery and world-building precision. In The Bad Guys, 2025, visual effects and CGI serve as more than mere aesthetic elements. They are central to the film's immersive quality, emotional engagement, and comedic energy. The animation team at DreamWorks has significantly refined the visual style introduced in the original 2022 film, bringing a more dynamic, cinematic, and texturally rich visual experience to the sequel. This installment reflects not just technical evolution, but also artistic confidence, allowing the visual effects to feel organic and deeply connected to the tone and heart of the story. Glowing Star 1. Stylization over photorealism. Unlike many modern animated films that chase lifelike textures, The Bad Guys 2025 embraces a painterly, expressive visual style. The character designs remain cartoonish yet emotionally resonant, allowing for a perfect balance between exaggerated humor and genuine emotional depth. The film retains the comic book-inspired visual flair of its predecessor, marked by 2D overlays, motion blur lines, and split-second freeze-frame inserts, but applies these techniques with more precision and restraint. These effects are never used gratuitously. Rather, they help emphasize key emotional beats or comedic timing, reinforcing the film's kinetic energy. Sunglasses #2. Seamless integration of CGI environments. The world of The Bad Guys 2025 is bustling with detail, from neon-lit cityscapes and shadowy back alleys to sun-drenched desert highways and futuristic tech labs. Each environment is built entirely in CGI but designed to feel both stylish and tactile. Backgrounds are textured with painterly lighting, rim shadows, and atmospheric layers that support the narrative mood. During stealth sequences, the use of low-key lighting and subtle fog effects amplifies tension. In high-speed chase scenes, motion blur, lens flares, and dynamic camera angles create a sense of exhilarating chaos, all rendered cleanly in real-time animation. Importantly, the CGI never overwhelms the frame. It acts as a supportive character, enhancing tension, comedy, and emotion without ever stealing focus from the characters. Wolfface 3. Character animation and expression. One of the film's visual triumphs lies in its facial animation and character physics. Each bad guy moves with species-specific flair. Mr. Wolf is agile and graceful, almost Parker-like. Mr. Snake slithers with elastic fluidity. Mr. Shark, despite his bulk, has bouncy comedic timing and soft fur details. Webbs the Spider demonstrates hyperactive motion, often framed with staccato frame rates to emphasize her quirky energy. These choices are powered by state-of-the-art rigging and skin deformation systems, allowing for incredibly nuanced expression. Whether it's Wolf's smug smirk fading into guilt or Snake's sarcastic eye roll softening into vulnerability. It's a testament to how digital animation can deliver emotional nuance with clarity and charm. Explosion Symbol 4. Action and spectacle, controlled chaos. In set pieces such as heists, chases, and showdowns, the visual effects team employs a range of techniques: particle simulations, dust, smoke, debris, explosive dynamics, holographic interfaces, and motion-tracked camera shakes to immerse the viewer. Yet, the action is always readable, thanks to clever use of contrast and timing. In sequences with large-scale destruction or fast cuts, the animation retains a hand-drawn sensibility that ensures visual coherence over spectacle overload. A standout moment includes a massive drone swarm controlled by the film's antagonist, rendered in procedural animation that makes each movement feel both technological and predatory, adding menace and urgency to the plot. Repeat Button 5. Blend of practical texture simulations and digital flexibility. Though the film is fully animated, it mimics practical effects like realistic light fall-off and soft shadows, imitating natural cinematography. Simulated cloth, fur, and reflective surfaces, handled with accuracy that reflects tangible materials while preserving the stylized aesthetic. This blend of simulated realism with artistic exaggeration makes the characters feel alive in a stylized world, much like what Spider-Verse films did with comic-style embellishments, but tailored to DreamWorks' aesthetic. Film Projector #6. Visual storytelling and symbolism. CGI isn't just used for beauty or action. It's also a tool for narrative and symbolic storytelling. Certain scenes use color transitions, lighting shifts, and surreal digital transitions to reflect emotional shifts or character dilemmas. For example, when Mr. Wolf faces a moral crossroads, the environment behind him fades into monochrome shadows, signaling doubt. During team reunions, warm light and glowing backdrops reinforce themes of belonging and hope. These are emotionally driven visual effects, where the digital elements align with the character arcs, creating a visually poetic experience. Crossmark any weaknesses. While the film excels in visual execution, there may be moments where rapid editing and fast visual cues could overwhelm very young viewers or those sensitive to visual noise. However, these moments are brief and controlled, never tipping into chaos or incoherence. White heavy checkmark conclusion, a polished and purposeful visual spectacle. The Bad Guys, 2025, showcases DreamWorks' evolving artistry in animated visual effects and CGI integration. Every frame is designed with care, not to dazzle for its own sake, but to elevate character, mood, and narrative rhythm. From kinetic action sequences to quiet, heartfelt character moments, the CGI consistently enhances immersion, supports comedy, and deepens emotion. This is not just animation that looks good, It feels purposeful, striking a perfect balance between technical innovation and artistic storytelling. In short, The Bad Guys 2025 proves that even in a stylized animated world, visual effects can carry as much heart and storytelling power as any live-action epic. Would you like to continue with symbolism and metaphors, cultural or social commentary, or move into audience engagement? The Bad Guys 2025, set design and locations. A stylized urban jungle that breathes life into every scene. In The Bad Guys 2025, the set design and location choices play a pivotal role in elevating the film from a simple animated caper to a fully immersive cinematic experience. Although the movie exists within a stylized animated universe, the attention to detail in crafting distinct, mood-rich environments helps ground the story, amplify emotional stakes, and reinforce character dynamics. DreamWorks once again succeeds in designing an animated world that feels not only believable, but also thematically layered and visually captivating. Cityscape at Dusk 1. A vibrant, animated metropolis, both familiar and fantastical. The core setting of The Bad Guys 2025 is an evolved version of the unnamed metropolitan city introduced in the first film. This city is designed with a fusion of modern realism and comic book charm, with Art Deco influences, sweeping skylines, and an animated personality all its own. The city is filled with sleek skyscrapers that reflect the tech-driven themes of the sequel, gritty alleyways and underground tunnels used in covert operations and heists, lush parks, museums, and labs that serve as backdrops to both chaos and character moments. Every building, street, and sidewalk seems carefully designed to serve the needs of the scene, whether it's tension, humor, or introspection. These locations not only frame the action but also reflect the personalities of the characters inhabiting them. Detective #2. Thematic environments that reflect character arcs. Each setting in the film appears constructed with narrative intention. For example, Mr. Wolf's rooftop hideout, sleek and distant from ground-level society, mirrors his leadership role and emotional detachment at the beginning of the film. The abandoned museum, repurposed as a lair by the villains, hints at themes of repurposing identity and confronting the past. Underground tunnels and old archives serve as metaphors for secrets and the buried emotions the team must unearth. This kind of symbolic set design helps add subtext to the film's comedic exterior, encouraging viewers to look beyond surface visuals. Satellite #3. New locations, high stakes, high tech. To distinguish the sequel from its predecessor, The Bad Guys 2025 introduces several new and visually innovative locations. A high-security AI-controlled government vault, rendered with glowing interfaces, sleek steel corridors, and digital security systems. A futuristic desert laboratory, where harsh lighting and sparse visuals evoke isolation and danger. A floating casino cruise hybrid, used in one of the film's major heist set pieces. This location blends glamour with chaos, utilizing vibrant lighting and motion-simulated camera work to mimic the sway of the sea. These locations not only raise the stakes of the plot, but also give the animation team a playground for experimentation in movement, layout, and tone. Artist Palette 4. Color palettes and lighting, visual identity through setting. Each location in The Bad Guys 2025 is defined by a carefully curated color palette and lighting scheme, which contributes to the emotional tone. Nighttime chases through neon-lit city streets echo classic noir thrillers. Warm, dusty lighting in flashback scenes evokes nostalgia and emotional vulnerability. Sharp, cool lighting in high-tech facilities adds a clinical sense of unease and control. This dynamic use of visual contrast makes the transitions between locations emotionally intuitive and keeps viewers visually engaged without ever feeling disoriented. 5. Prop design, functional, fun, and thematically relevant. Props in the film are more than just background dressing. They are extensions of the characters and tools that drive the story. The team's high-tech gadgets, grappling hooks, cloaking devices, portable hacking rigs, are not only visually inventive but also tightly woven into the plot's forward motion. Personal items, such as Wolf's classic leather gloves or Snake's favorite snack bag, become recurring elements that add personality and continuity. Even seemingly minor objects, like keys, ID cards, or old journals, are designed with texture and realism that anchors them in the story's world. The use of props thus enhances both the visual humor and narrative depth of the film. Film projector #6. Cinematic staging and environmental interaction. The animation team ensures that environments are not static backdrops. They are active stages that characters interact with dynamically. Chases make use of vertical city structures, moving traffic, and collapsing scaffolding. Hideouts evolve visually across the film to reflect changing team dynamics. The final act's showdown takes place in an environment that collapses and reshapes itself, creating a metaphor for the character's breaking points and eventual growth. The design is not just functional, it's metaphorical. Every environment seems to speak to the moment being portrayed. Conclusion: a living, breathing world with purpose and personality. The set design and locations in The Bad Guys, 2025, are not just creative. They are meticulously crafted to reflect theme, emotion, and plot movement. From vibrant urban sprawls to sleek futuristic interiors, every location in the film enhances immersion, supports character development, and ensures visual story.